All right. If you like military thrillers, don't miss the James Reese series. This is my review for book two, True Believer by Jack Carr. Came out in 2019. Now, this one's a lot slower paced than the first one. I will say the first book is like a 10 out of 10, and this is like a 9 out of 10. But you should continue with the series if you like the first one, because it does take things into new directions. It's not the same book as the first one. It's a different story that gets deeper into like international conspiracies, and it offers quite a lot of insight, and especially if you're a military nerd who likes to imagine fictional international like alternate history type what if scenarios, like how divisions of the U.S. government military would respond and what that would look like. And that could be a really fun rabbit hole for people that like that sort of thing, because there's probably no one writing intense actiony thriller military thrillers that has the level of insight, passion, and background alive in the world right now than Jack Carr, because he was a Navy SEAL for like 20 years, and Navy SEAL commander, and in the Middle East was active in operations and all that. So this is a powerful read. It is, although there are some cliches, it is a bit, and it's very much a slow burn. It's nonetheless very realistic, and when dramatic moments or action happens, it's that much more powerful because it's so immersive for that reason. And I found myself getting slowly converted to like nerding out over all the little particular details, like things like the jargon, the military, the patterns of operations of different departments, and like trading and international relations between different parts of the U.S. government that I'm just ignorant to because I'm just not educated to. But people with military backgrounds or interest in military thrillers will love this sort of thing. That's what I've heard. I can't really say where it ranks in the larger canon of U.S. Military thriller fiction, but it's converting me to that, and I'm just excited by thinking about there's generations of books and thrillers I just have never had time for, because it hasn't been my go-to genre. Like, I never read a single like Tom Clancy or Robert Ludlum novel, and so I feel like I have homework to do, and it's not really fair for me to even judge this book, because for all I know, like, this could be this could be the ultimate like cliche ripoff of those stories, and I wouldn't know any better. I think this is awesome. And so in any case, like I said, the Terminal List is a superior story. It's just, so if you're not unfamiliar, I will have some slight spoilers for that. Basically, there's a Navy SEAL who's set up by the deep state, generally speaking, to be a fall guy. They, in order to silence him, they kill his family and they try to kill him, but he survives, and he finds out every single person has this list of people he needs to terminate, hence the Terminal List. And it's just a revenge quest, essentially a revenge quest fantasy of that's also tapped into the political, mostly conservative zeitgeist era of wanting accountability, because as time has gone on, the internet generation has retroactively revealed to a lot of us concerned patriots that our government is and always has been filled with complex layers of corruption, and there needs to be accountability and justice, but people don't want to like take authority. Well, James Reese is the quintessential meta symbol of that. Like it's so there is something we can celebrate in the arts to as a sort of mascot or represents in the psychic realm, so to say, like have commonality around the value system of what it means. So it is sort of like an restoring a faith in humanity. Like, there's a lot of these cliches are done so well that they're actually comforting and feel up to date and new, like probably a spiritual successor to a lot of those other authors' books and stuff that I mentioned, and that's what I've heard other critics say. So basically, it's just an extremely satisfying read for someone who appreciates themes of heroism, justice, and admires power, and the way the good aspects of the U.S. government, military, and more personable servicemen with good work ethics like James Reese operate under pressure in certain scenarios. And I don't know if I've read a cooler book than this in my life for those reasons. The impact is the word I'm going for. This book is so like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're there. Whatever little idiosyncrasies or of not so quality writing that I happen to notice on occasion characters sort of sound like an encyclopedia. Well, for all I know, that's how military operators speak under pressure when they're performing operations. But that did not take me out of it because it was so balanced with all these other realistic details. You can tell the author is pulling the story from a place of sheer knowledge and passion and experience and admiration for the ideals that these things are meant to represent. That's been my experience observing the good aspects of the U.S. military over the years. So this book is just because of the where the author is coming from, being a retired Navy SEAL commander for 20 years, operations in the Middle East, all that sort of stuff. It just, you realize experience is the best source of motivation for writers. It creates a more immersive story, therefore more emotionally resonant. And yeah, so anyway, but it is not quite as powerful or good or has as fast a pace of a story as the first book, but it might just send you on some fun rabbit holes of other interests because this feels like a book that the author's writing from a place for himself, so to say, getting into the things that he likes, and that just made it all more and more immersive and realistic. And so anyway, it wasn't quite as fun or as Hollywood as the first book, but it's still good. It doesn't have quite as much mystery, but then it offers other things that wasn't in the first book, like more political complexity, and it's very insightful into certain mindsets in the world. I don't know how much of that is biased because there's just so much that I don't know because this isn't typically the thing that I read, but this is the sort of book that inspires me to go on other rabbit holes and read more military thrillers and stuff. But I wonder how high the bar has been set because, as Jack Carr said before, he's had a million inspirations of the great thriller writers of the past. So I don't know, but it's just awesome, is what is what it is. It's awesome and it's inspiring, and it's politically relevant, tapped into the psychological and emotional zeitgeist of the moment where so many Americans want justice and accountability. Oh, I forgot to mention, like, for example, it is not a gung ho propaganda for the military. Like, James Reese is a character that really symbolizes how justice and what keeps any trust from citizens to government these days comes down to the willpower of individuals. I don't want to say it's like promoting vigilantism necessarily, because James Reese's loyalty is convoluted because he puts accountability on individual operators in the giant apparatus that is the U.S. government, and he's the guy that represents, you know, karma, basically what happens when people go rogue, and the amount of damage that they can do. And I'm trying not to spoil anything, but long story short, American traitors and the damage they can do, and how pleasing it is to read fiction where there's accountability for that, and it just feels just. And so background themes of honor and justice are very alive, cliche, but so well done that it's comforting, and it's not boring. It's not lost on you. It doesn't feel like a fantasy. It feels very immersive and realistic, and that's because the whole work is coming from obviously a place of passion and authenticity, which shows. The experience shows. It's like you're there, especially in battle scenes, action scenes, and whatnot. Like, it's things are unfair. Things go wrong. Things don't go to plan. People have to improvise. It's sudden when there's an ambush or that sort of thing. It's terrifying and therefore immersive, but it feels like that much of the book does feel like blockbuster Hollywood action, but better because, like I said, it's all realism. This is like Jack Carr could have easily gone down the exploitation rabbit hole and essentially just dressed it up with larger than life action. This is not that book. This is a very restrained, mature, realistic, like hypothetical what if scenario of if certain political, conspiracies were at play and certain operators with certain mentalities were working together in this fashion, what that would look like. And because it's coming from a place of sheer knowledge, there's nobody that can dispute that as being unrealistic. So it just makes an overall more powerful book. I guess you could call it just a smarter thriller and less is more in a certain aspect. So overall, at this point, I'm hooked on the series, and I know I'm going to be reading the whole series. I'm also excited to read Cry Havoc, which just came out. So yeah, if you like military thrillers, this is the series to read, hands down. True Believer by Jack Carr. It's inspired me to just catch up on the generations of military thrillers I'm not familiar with because I typically don't read that genre, but I loved it. I give it a 9 out of 10. I give the Terminal List 10 out of 10. I give this 9 out of 10. It's almost as good. I'm really excited to read a Savage Son next, but I'll tell you what I think about that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Read more books.